So, has anybody felt scared recently? So, that's where I'm at too. I'm always scared. But I'm also brave, because I've decided to be. And I live in this place between scared and brave. And this is what we need to be doing right now. I'll leave them. So, everybody has seen and heard, I believe in this room, I don't want to make assumptions, but I know half of you. They had whistles, we had whistles, they had guns. When I saw this statement from her wife, it really resonated with me because I identify with her so much. Because this is what we've been doing in New York City right now. I've been working with this group called Hands Off NYC to try to bring together all New Yorkers, weaving us together person by person, group by group, religious groups, unions, any group possible, so that we can weave this really tight web of security and actual safety for our communities, doing it ourselves, since our government, our federal government, has decided to attack us. And this is what she was doing. They go out, they alert people. We go out, we alert people on patrols when we see who ICE is abducting. And we do what is legally possible to do. We know our rights and we are nonviolent. And this is what our government is doing. We are living in a moment that I'm guessing many of you realize, an Orwellian moment. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. I'm not going to read this whole thing of garbage that Donald Trump wrote about the incident, the blatant lies about what happened. I just wanted to acknowledge this because I'm sure it's on everybody's minds. All the groups I've ever been in, so he's accusing her of being violent. This is what authoritarians do. They accuse you of the act they are doing. And it's gaslighting, you know. They try to make you believe that you're the ones but our groups, the ones I'm working with, and I believe several of you here are working with, are committed to nonviolence. So I wanted to make that clear. I even have been to a protest this year on John Lewis's, I can't remember the day he died or his birthday, called Good Trouble. Was there a Good Trouble protest here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And no kings.
Yeah. So Good Trouble, the quote about Good Trouble from John Lewis basically means like you get in trouble, right? He's a civil rights icon, but it's really for democracy and freedom. It is the America that we want. Why do our voices matter now? Originally, this presentation was just for artists, but I've opened it up because it's really about all of us. Is this the America we want? We have a choice right now. We can decide if we want to be ripping people off the streets and if these are actually the people that are making us less safe, and that this is what we want to do, not deny them their due process and beat them up and shoot them in the face, be wearing gas masks on both sides. Is this even what the ICE agents really want? Or are they just trying to get student loan forgiveness? So after the second tragedy of Donald Trump coming to office, the second time, I was completely demoralized. And I started researching how to fight fascism, and I found this quote from a strategic messenger named Anat Shinker-Osario, Paint the Beautiful Tomorrow. And so, even if you're not an artist, you have the ability to envision the America that you want and project that into the world. And I'm just going to play this little video. This is from No Kings 2, and this much of the art in here I made, but some of it I didn't. And it's a video put together by Indivisible Brooklyn, one of the Indivisible groups that I am working closely with in New York. Oops, shoot. Darn it, I cut it off. I got trigger happy here. You're gonna have to give me some grace.
You got it.
Grace. All right, let's play it again.
Did you make that puppet?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I made that eagle puppet. I made those hands, they've been repurposed many times. And that torch.
Welcome. Glad you're here.
All right. This is what democracy looks like. Right? This is
Right.
That's all I can do not to run the chant right now. All right, how I got here. I mean, Steve already told you the whole story, but I'll do it again a little bit differently. It started with church, a turkey, and equality. I grew up Catholic. My mom was a Democrat. My dad was a Republican. So I was in a mixed household. When I was about 12 years old, we were on our way to church, which was a very big part of my life. And I was talking to my mom in the back seat, and I said, "Mom, I don't understand it. Like, don't most religions believe in like love thy neighbor and do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and that we're all one?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I don't understand. Why are we Catholic then? If everybody believes that, I don't understand it." And it wasn't part of it, but I'll tell you the answer. And she said, "Well, that makes sense, but I grew up Catholic. That's who I am." And so a lot of it's cultural, you know. But from that point on, and I'm really lucky I had the parents I had, because they allowed me to be a free thinker. And they allowed me to make my own choices. And
So you have another witness in the building.
that's my sister Anna. So anyways, so from that point on, that's kind of was my worldview. We're all one. We are really all one. And I started also at that point thinking about the name of our country, the United States of America. Same idea. We are all one. At that time, a few years earlier, I drew this turkey, and it got an award at Gilcrease Museum. I got 2 awards at Gilcrease Museum, and I started taking classes at Philbrook and then at Johnson Atelier, and I was on my path to becoming the next Picasso. And then also something formative happened, which was that my mom, again, I didn't realize I'd be talking so much about her, she took me to protest on the Capitol steps for equal rights for women, the Equal Rights Amendment. And I didn't realize that made me a feminist. I just thought that made me a person. We didn't get it. if you might remember. But anyways, all those things were really important to me. I'll try to get to some more pictures in a second. But then, fast forward, I went to Booker T. Washington High School. I had the most amazing art teacher in the world and amazing classmates. Several are here today. And I was not interested in politics. I wasn't interested in political art. I was going to be the next Picasso, as I said. I was told that maybe by Steve Liggett. So I was going to go to New York, and I was going to live my American dream. Because that's one form of the American dream that some of us are told, like you want to go, be successful, be rich and famous, all of that. So then I also saw this show, though, at Philbrook that was so inspiring to me, called The Eloquent Object.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And it really formed my creative mind. I loved the materials and how organic everything was. I didn't realize at the time, I thought it wasn't political. I realize now that it was. In fact, I believe some of the best political art. So this is Joyce Scott and Ken Little, who are both in that show. And these two pieces, I think if you kind of mush them together and add it a little bit, is kind of where my art headed. And I said that I didn't think they were political, but this piece is called the Jonestown Massacre. Mm-hmm. So definitely political if you know anything about what happened. But also, Linda Stilley, she assigned for us to make a political or social statement. And I was infuriated. I was like, I don't do that. Why do we have to do that? I don't want to force that on my work. Here I am, 17, 18 years old, my work. And she showed us this work of Barbara Kruger. And she showed us Jenny Holzer. And I was infuriated. I was like, why, those are words, that's not art. I didn't realize how important that would become later to me, like now. Choosing the right words to say to move people. And these two particular pieces I feel like are really appropriate for our country and right now. Then I moved to New York City. I got into the Cooper Union, as Steve told you, and I was absolutely on my way to becoming Picasso, except for that, when I got there, it was actually a really negative environment for me. Everything was conceptual. Nobody was interested in what I came to know as process-oriented art. Art that came from the process and evolved from making it. Everything was very didactic, words, you have the idea, you execute it. That was very, very traumatizing for me because I was adored in Tulsa. And I was not adored there. In fact, coming from Oklahoma, it was like coming from another planet. Whereas I was like, I'm in New York City, I've made it, I'm with my people. So it was very confusing. And it was very confusing afterwards for many years. But my education happened in New York, where I was around so many different kinds of people that I was able to keep learning about how we are all one. And then I also was exposed to news that I was never exposed to before here. I learned the truth about the Tulsa Race Massacre while I was in New York, and it was not a thing here then. That was incredibly formative to me, because I realized I had been lied to, and then I started to research all the other things that I had been lied to about. I started working hard, and I realized that I was not getting rich and famous. But I still kept making art because it was in me. And I started to realize what art really meant to me, and it wasn't about this particular American dream. Fast forward, September 11th. I'm sure that this was startling to everybody in the room. Being a New Yorker at that point, living there for a couple of decades, it was pretty traumatizing being there. And this is on the fly. I just want to say that, though, it was a time when everybody was a New Yorker. We felt love from Oklahoma. We felt love from everywhere in the country. And I just want to reflect on that moment right now, considering what's happening in our country right now. So that was a real change for me. I was making the work on this